Hi Wade, how are you doing?
Well,
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
yeah, my name is Wade Cassamajor. I grew up, born and raised in Maryland. I come from a Haitian background. My parents are from Haiti. They immigrated from Haiti. I did my undergrad at the University of Maryland College Park, and now I'm enrolled in their master's program. So,
That's wonderful. So what is your connection with Hillman Entrepreneurs Program?
well, I was one of the first students to be accepted in the program. And in addition to that, I was one of the first students to graduate from the program. I graduated from the University of Maryland in 2008. I got admitted to the program, and I remember that being a turning point because my confidence shot up. I mean, it made me feel like, you know what, I can do this. You know, I am. Yep.
Yeah, because I remember you mentioning before that you originally applied to University of Maryland at College Park and you got
Yes,
declined,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, I wasn't always the best student, you know,
I
and that was
see.
definitely the case when I was in high school. Didn't get the best grades. It's funny, but I managed to graduate, but you know, my grades weren't good enough to get into University of Maryland. That's where I wanted to go.
I see.
You know, being hard-headed, I applied to Maryland anyway, thinking that, it'd be, I'd be let in, because of an oversight or something like that. But no, I got the rejection letter. I was rejected, and I didn't really want to go anywhere else. So my other option was just to go to Prince George's Community College, and that was kind of depressing for me at first. You don't really hear the best things about community college.
Yeah.
You know, of course, now I look back, if I had to do it over again, I would. You know, that's the best way to go, I think. But yeah, so I did not get into University of Maryland at first, and I remember, that one of my goals, when I went to Prince George's Community College was to get my grades up enough to get admitted to University of Maryland. It was a long shot to me though, because from talking to people who attended, I had friends who went to University of Maryland, and they talked about how difficult it was to get in, how you needed the high GPAs and the extracurricular activities and stuff. Actually, there was one instance where I was, sitting in a dorm room with a friend, at the University of Maryland, and I remember this one, this girl, she was a student in Maryland, and I told her that, hey, you're studying accounting, right? Because I remember she told me she studied accounting, and I said, I want to do that too. I want to go into the business school. I mean, how can I? She's like, well, when you go to community college, I don't know if you're going to probably, just like, and she was all like, yeah, because, you're competing with, people like me,
No, I understand.
So that was kind of demoralizing or whatever. But like I said, that getting accepted into the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program was the victory that I needed, to, give me the confidence to say, you know what, I can do this. No matter what my past was, I can be competitive. If I just stick to the program, I do what I'm supposed to do. There's no reason why I couldn't not only get admitted to University of Maryland, but, get a great job, pursue my entrepreneurial aspirations.
Absolutely. What other impact you see in that being part of Hillman Entrepreneur Program when doing your job search or later on once you finish your education journey at Prince George Community College, then continuing on University of Maryland at College Park?
Well,
You think that it differentiated you some from the other candidates seeking for employment?
There's no doubt about that because, going through the program, the biggest emphasis was, I hate to use this cliche, but thinking outside the box, being, a leader in your community. Also keeping in mind, social aspects, giving back to the community. But basically the biggest thing was they sort of tried to hone your entrepreneurial, skills. And, that assisted me because, when I went to apply for my current job, at the federal, I work for the federal government, during the day. I remember sitting in the interview. At the time, I was competing for a co-op position or internship position, and it was only one position in the whole Washington, D.C. area, and I was competing with all these people. And I don't remember much from the interview, but I do remember this particular question: what sets you apart from all the other candidates? You know, what do you have? I mean, why should we pick you? I said, well, I was part of this program called the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program. It was a selective program. I mean, they picked me because I was entrepreneurial. I didn't just want to just go in and just study a major and then just go off and find a job. I wanted to do something much more than that, you know. And, you know, I guess how I could apply my entrepreneurship spirit to this job is, you know, I can think outside the box. I'm not afraid to try new things. I'm not afraid to challenge, you know, the status quo, you know, because that's part of what being an entrepreneur is about. You know, entrepreneurship is not just starting a business. You know, you can be employed by somebody and still, you know, show that entrepreneurship spirit.
Absolutely.
You know, and when I told them that, I remember telling them that distinctly because I felt like that was the answer that won them over.
Wonderful.
You know?
So, would you think that if it wasn't the Hillman Entrepreneurs Program, your life will be the way that it is?
I don't
the way
know.
that it is
I
now?
have no idea because I can honestly say that before the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program, I didn't have all the support systems that, you know, I didn't have a solid support. I mean, I had my parents, are great, you know, but for the most part, you know, I was on my own. You know, like I said, my parents, they immigrated from, you know, Haiti. You know, they're very supportive, but you know, my dad sat me down one day and said, "Hey, look, I never went to college. You know, I could tell you what to do up in high school, but you're on your own once you get to college because that's uncharted waters. You know, so I was on my own. You know, so there was I had to feel my way around. But once I got into that Hillman Entrepreneurship Program, I had a path. I had a support system. I had my colleagues, my peers, my professors, and you know, that gave me the support and the confidence that I need to, you know, go try different things. So if it wasn't for the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program, I honestly don't know where. I doubt that I'd be in the position I am today.
You have accomplished a lot. You should be very proud of yourself. What also, I'm sure you face some challenges when you're going through the program. What you think that one of the major challenges you face with, and how did you overcome?
One of the biggest challenges that I had was the transition from going to Prince George's Community College to University of Maryland. You know, University of Maryland is huge. You know, College Park is a huge campus. If I'm not mistaken, it's over 30,000 students there. So it's overwhelming. In addition to that, you feel like you're at a disadvantage because you are in an environment with, you know, students who's been there already. They're familiar with the school. They know what's going on, and you think there's this perception that they have this advantage over you. And you know, your thoughts are very powerful in that, you know, it kind of manifests itself if you feel like you are lesser than somebody. And here's an example of how it did. I remember, you know, there was a point in time where I wanted to start applying for internships because I was an accounting major, and I wanted to get an internship at one of these big, you know, four accounting firms. And I remember one of my first interviews, I was so nervous. I thought I was way over my head, you know, and it showed. I went in the interview and I was nervous. I was stumbling over myself. I couldn't even, you know, and the guy literally was like, "This is horrible. This is a horrible interview. You don't have the job." He closed his binder. He said, you got some work to do, man." And, you know, it was challenging for me because it was, you know, the worst possible thing that can happen during an interview happened. But it was also a blessing because it happened and I was still here and I didn't die or anything. You know, I survived it, and I realized that I would have more interviews and I would just get better. And that, you know what? You know, I shouldn't put myself down. You know, the fact that I was able to get into that door in the first place was an indication that I'm just as qualified as everybody here. So that I was competing with for those internships. So I would eventually get an internship, and
I see.
that
I see, but I
company,
guess being entrepreneur and having an entrepreneurial mindset help you out thinking that what is the best outcome could be from that, rather than being sorry. You just take it, look at the positive, and choose as improving yourself.
Yeah, I learned one of the most valuable lessons
go
was
for it.
confidence. You know,
Absolutely.
if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. As they say, you got to drink your own Kool-Aid. So, that's what I eventually did. Just started believing in myself. And the Hillman Entrepreneur Program, the whole process of being in that program, what happens, whether you realize it or not, your confidence builds over time.
That's wonderful.
Through the classroom exercises, through, the outside classroom exercises, through, everything.
So they can turn the caterpillar to butterfly, I guess.
Right, and it's driven by yourself, though. It's important that, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, they're not going to make you an entrepreneur. You gotta be, it's gotta come from you. But, they kind of help you get through that process. They kind of help you refine, but they're not going to. You get what you get what you put in. That's the biggest thing with this program.
That is wonderful.
So,
what do you think that one of the benefits or some of the benefits that society has been having from Hillman Entrepreneurs Program?
Well, from a direct when you ask me that, the thing that comes to mind is, there was this one leadership class that I took at Prince George's Community College where, the final was, go out and, do a project that requires you to be a leader, And I think most of us did a community service oriented project. And, I know personally I did something called Christmas in April, where I guess that's a nonprofit organization that they go out and they help rehab people with dilapidated house, fix things up in their house and stuff like that. So I kind of recruited a bunch of my classmates, and I did that, and we spent the day fixing up this house, cleaning up the yard. That's one aspect. Another aspect. Another example of how they encourage us to, or how the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program benefits the community, is that they don't just teach entrepreneurship, they teach social entrepreneurship too. Or I don't say teach, but they encourage. That's a big deal too. So you don't have to come in there with $1 million idea. You come in there, say, hey, look, I want to start a nonprofit organization that helps disadvantaged children in this particular area. And that's just as awesome as, somebody who wants to, start a website company, for profit.
I guess program is sports to giving back to community and the
It's
society
just as important.
Well.
And, and that spirit is inherent in the program because, David Hillman, contributes millions of dollars to the program. And he has no reason to. There's no reason. Literally, this came from him and his family, and out of the goodness of his heart. He doesn't have to give back. He doesn't have to reach out to students at community college. I mean, he's already set. He could have wrote a check to some charity and said, well, do with But he, said, what, I'm not just going to write a check. I'm going to build a program.
Absolutely.
That will, bring kids up and, help them with their aspirations.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
What other advice you have for the new Hillman entrepreneurs that they just joined to the program?
Take advantage of the program. It's an awesome program. Getting most of your tuition paid for, that's an awesome advantage. Most people don't have that. You got all these extra classes that you're going to take that are practical, that you're going to learn skills that you're going to be able to use in the real world. Like there's a business plan writing class, so you go through that program. There's no excuse for you not knowing how to write a business plan, or there's no excuse for why you shouldn't start the business that you wanted to start, because this program will give you everything that you need. And so by the time you get out of the program, if you're not where you want to be, or if you're not on the path to where you want to go, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. So I'm going to go back to what I said. It's what you make of it. everybody's available to you. You know, there's a huge network of business people who are tied into the program. I would imagine. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be on a path to where you want to be. Going through this program. Opportunities are there, and yeah. I guess that would be the biggest advice that I would give the students, the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program, and don't let it stop at just the college level. When you graduate, it continues. The program continues.
Absolutely.
Because your success outside the program is tied into the success of the Hillman Entrepreneurship Program. They're not just trying to graduate students; they're trying to do more than that. So go out there and take risks. I purchased a couple of investment properties. I got tenants. Put myself in very risky situations, but you know what? That's what being entrepreneurship is just about. I mean, I could have just been, this federal employee collecting this check, and that would have been it. But that I would have been remiss. I mean, all that education, all that would have been, for nothing. So I decided to do more. Further expand your horizon. Take it a step further. Enroll in graduate programs. Build your worth. So you could be in a position to give back to the program one day.
That's what you're doing right now, having this conversation with us. Thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure getting to know you. We are very proud of all your accomplishments.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.